The Czechs have 3 NHL goaltenders on their roster. Lukas, Dostal from Anaheim played 2 of the 3 games in the
What's going on, everybody? John here with you. We're on the YouTube side, and we're just going to be getting underway here for Czechia and Denmark. It is Tuesday, February 17th, 2026. Another one of those early starts for the rest of the week. Going to be some 10:40s. We'll see 3:10 maybe tomorrow, and then 8:10 for the gold medal game on Sunday morning. So Czechia sits 1-1-1. And again, this is the quarterfinal start of the knockout portion of the stage. So playoff qualifications today. So what's on the line for Czechia and Denmark? Denmark sits 1-2. Whoever wins this advances to play Canada tomorrow. Short rest for anyone in the knockout portion of the rounds. Anyone that won their group stage going to bye into the quarterfinals. And whoever loses this game goes home. So that's what's on stage for both of these teams. For Czechia themselves, head coached by Radko, again 1-1-1. You got David Pastrnak, Tomas, Hertl, Marty Necas, Ondrej, Palat, Dominik, Kubalik, Filip, Hronek, Radko, Gudas, Rutta, and then Karel, Vejmelka, Lukas, Dostal, and Vladar as their goaltenders. So 3 NHL netminders. They elected to go for Lukas Dostal again. Last time out when they played against Canada, lost 5-0. So we'll see what Lukas Dostal is able to bring into this game. I'm going to get Genge in here, and then I'm going to go ahead and kind of bring you what's going on for Denmark. So for Denmark themselves, when you look at their lineup, again, head coached by Michael Gath, their top notables are Ehlers, Oliver Bjorkstrand, Lars, Eller, Alexander True, the former member of the Seattle Kraken, and their recent rookie Oscar Fischer Molgaard. Freddie Andersen will be the goaltender of record for Denmark, but that's really all that is. So for Czechia, they're going to go ahead and wear the all reds with the blue helmet as the slap shot immediately takes this one up in the netting on a play. And Denmark is going to have the white and red. So the white side for Denmark, essentially the all red side for Czechia. Ian, glad you could join me here for this one, even if you're just listening in. Hopefully we're all just waking up. That Sunday game is going to be a challenge, but if it ends up working out the way it's supposed to, the United States and Canada, once it gets reseeded, would meet in Sunday if they do manage to get that far, especially for the United States. That would be the one thing that you'd have to think about. This reverse hit. We'll sum this one back in behind the end boards. I'm going to pull up my rosters here for both of these, so as long as I have the number. Just a word of warning for Denmark, there are about 3 Nick Jensens on the team. You kind of think of it the same way with the Pedersens and Vancouver, so I have to try to get those ones coordinated when we get to it. As Captain will send this across for Czechia. Left side red line off the pass will be deflected. We're the first minute away here from this first period. Watching this one on Peacock. I think USA Network might carry part of the game. I don't think they're going to carry all of it here. So this might be one of those times where it's only on the app. It's Tomas Hertl of the Vegas Golden Knights will throw this one back. Picked up down near the left side blue line. Denmark now off the back check as Hertl was trying to give chase. And this will be a long flip. Again, hard to believe that Czechia is just 1-1-1. But that is what we got. We got an icing here as David Spacek hits their first to be an ozone draw for the Czechs in 1830. So Nick Ehlers, 3 points in 3 games, 7 shots on goal for the Carolina Hurricane. He's going to be one of the main proponents for Denmark. Tomas Hertl going to get set to take this one. A little bit of a jump too early there. I want to make sure I get these numbers right for Denmark. Patrick Russell of Polar Kane. He is the assistant captaincy for Denmark. And he gets set to take it on the other end. It's a D-zone draw that Denmark wins. Again, in the whites with the red striping and red helmets. As Denmark will take the long flip of 100. That is where Dostal is. Again, he was the last one that I saw in the 5-0 loss for Czechia to Canada. But again, they do have Karel Vejmelka and Vladar. So if Czechia does find a way to advance and play Canada again, I'm not saying it's going to be enough, but you have to think their goaltending should be able to hold up as this long shot gets blocked aside by Freddie Andersen. Freddie Andersen has not had the greatest year for the Carolina Hurricanes. And again, his numbers throughout this tournament with Denmark sitting at 1 and 2 have not been great at all either. But he is the only NHL netminder of record, unless you want to count Mads Sogaard of Ottawa. But that is only a handful of games in the NHL. As Spacek will go ahead and finish his hit behind the net. Denmark tries to throw out in front of the crease. And that is where Czechia is, toward the left side of the blue line. Picked up now on the back skate. This is slipped behind the handboards for Marty Necas. Necas gets the recollect. This one goes to the point fair. Marty with a shot. And this one will be fought off by Freddie Andersen. Shot board reads 2-1. Denmark trying to clear it out. They can't do so. As this is picked up now off a back pass right in the middle of the slot. Turnaround chance. Good save for Freddie Andersen with the left pad. As this will be recollected by Jakob Firik, number 19 for Czechia. Throw this one back to the point. And this will be blocked at the line. Denmark mercifully be able to get it out. We'll have to see. Czechia should have the advantage in this game. Last time on, as I said, didn't see them score a goal. It's picked up now right across the bumper here and back in behind the net as David Kempf will go ahead and play this one toward the right side dot and off the spin and turn. Here's Necas, turnaround chance. This one will get deflected toward Kempf. He'll throw it on, and this deflected wide near the left side bumper. There's a back turn for Necas. See if Denmark can get there first. Again, whoever wins advances to play Canada tomorrow. Whoever loses is out. One timer. That one will kiss the glass. And now Denmark able to go left to right. Able to gain this left side red line and flip it in for Anders Koch. And this will be intercepted at the line for the moment for Denmark. But numbers, they do have a couple back. Pass right toward the middle of the slot looking for David Pastrnak of the Boston Bruins. Again, that's one of the big triggers for Czechia. Pastrnak in his own end. Try to accelerate. He'll go for a back pass instead. And Denmark with Lars Eller able to steal it for a moment. He gets pasted against the right side boards on defense. It is a 2-on-2. Pastrnak looking for a cross pass. This will float back to the point fair. Amari with a ripper of a 1T. And that will be kept in by Czechia. The left side dot. Pasta. Left side red line now. Work on his forehand. Good spin off the bumper. Pastrnak trying to get around the defense. Will just loop it into the corner. We're about 5 minutes expired from the first. We're still scoreless. Spacek with a shot. His chance gets blocked near the left dot. He'll pick it back up. David Spacek have to center around the inboards again. For Milano Cortina, it is the site for Italy and men's Olympics. It's certainly been a while. This is the last week. You got the qualification playoffs today, quarterfinals tomorrow. I'll be here with you maybe 10:40. That would be the best time that I could get for me, because if it's 3:10, it'll be too late for family plans. And then Friday, whether it'll be 10:40, 3:10 for the semis, and then the gold medal game on Sunday. That is my record for the week as far as what's going on. And they're showing a couple of replays there for Denmark, but Freddie Andersen able to make some of those saves in the middle of the slot, basically from David Pastrnak doing the puck carry. It's Russell and Hertl one more time just outside the neutral zone. And Russell wins another draw against Tomas Hertl. This will be flipped back in toward Freddie Andersen. Take a courtesy look at 14:40 of the first. And on the backhand, Denmark with possession now. Not a lot of ozone time. Good fake pass. Chance in the middle of the dot. This will be deflected wide of Lukas Dostal, the Anaheim Ducks. If you just saw one of the highlights that was posted on Double I Shift, you're talking about the Italy netminder that faced 165 shots throughout the games, was injured in that one against Sweden, but when he faced about 60, they had a decent 915 save percentage, all things considered, when Italy was really out of their own element. But as a host of the country, you're able to go ahead and make a team and automatically get a bid, and then that's what happened to them in Group B when you got to go against Sweden and Finland and the like, as this will be ripped in. Dostal now will watch this go to the left side red line, played in off the back pass. Now Denmark have his huddle up against the left side boards as Weiss tries to get it. Good play there is just eluded. Denmark in the middle, and Jensen tries to throw it out in front off of the turnaround chance, and that one goes wide of Dostal, maybe wide of the right post. as Denmark gets an opportunity to settle back down one more time. I want to see if I can locate Oliver Bjorkstrand, number 27. That's one of the ones you want to try to follow around as well. Nick Ehlers, number 24. Alexander True has some NHL experience from remember the Kraken playing for J/P right now. As this goes back to Freddie Andersen, he'll have to hold at 13-10. So two teams that are kind of feeling each other out within the first 7 minutes as we're getting some camera shots of Cortina here in the qualification playoff. Let me give you some scores here. I'll pause this recorder. So I'm looking at the live sport box. And France, another one of those teams that absolutely got pasted like Italy. They were able to score a goal in this game, but they gave up 3 goals in the first to lose to Germany. Once everything gets completed today, we'll give you that side of the bracket tomorrow. Leon Draisaitl opened the scoring. JJ Peterka also did from Tim Stützle. So you got Draisaitl, Moritz Seider, Tim Stützle, JJ Peterka. Some NHL players you should be familiar with. And alongside Germany, looks like Draisaitl got a goal and an assist in this game in the 5-1 victory. Let me see if I can look in their lineups to see who was their goaltender record. It was indeed Philip Grubauer, who will be headlining Germany in the Olympics. What's going on, Ian?
Hey there, John. Man, a bit early, huh?
Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to survive the 8:10 start, but Alec is supposed to be with me here on Sunday. We'll see. I don't normally drink coffee or anything. We're going to need some caffeine. Oh.
Yeah.
I was able to get a few of these done last week to prepare myself. Again, it is only 1 week with the Olympics. You got to make special concessions. Hopefully this game will live up to a little bit of billing. Maybe we won't get a complete blowout, at least I'm hoping not. But as we go across for Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, the hockey will definitely get better. But I figured might as well hit one of these since I got the time.
Right.
No Sharks duties this week at least, and not for another month. Pull back into the recorder side here. 3 games played, 2 goals, 3 assists from Marty Necas. Much different when you're playing with the Colorado Avalanche now in Czechia, although you have David Pastrnak as one of your line mates. But you don't have Nathan McKinnon and Kel McCarr. Again, Team Canada almost looks unbeatable. And again, as Ian showed me alongside for the U.S. women, what is that, 5 straight shutouts with a 5-0 at least to score line? We're going to get a hooking penalty here. And Jan Rutta, the former member of the Tampa Bay Lightning, I believe still is. He's going to go to the box. So I normally don't say this so early as Olsen's being held by Rutta. Again, that is a textbook hold for about 6 seconds. You can let it go after a couple, but if it's just continuous, you're going to get called. Again, I wouldn't normally say it so early, but Denmark's really got to score here. How many times are you going to get an opportunity like this? Run back in behind the end boards now for Freddie Andersen. And Denmark can try to go left to right. Again, they got the first power play of the game. The shot board is 5-3. I'd be a little bit disappointed if I don't see Czechia score by a period and a half. If they get in the middle of the second period and it's still scoreless, have some real problems as far as their offense with some of the players that they do have are high end as this gets looped back down. Freddie Andersen now, courtesy pass toward the middle of the slot here. And here we go, up the gut. Opportunity on the right side for Oliver Bjorkstrand is indeed getting some power play time. Penalty killing for Czechia just at 57%, although they did play Canada and give up a couple. Bjorkstrand off the back pass. Denmark looking for a lane. Have it in the high slot. Here's a wrister. This gets deflected in Czechia. Somebody lost their stick. Still able to clear it back down the ice. Power play's half expired here. 55 seconds left to go. Now for Jasper Jensen on defense. We'll send this one across. Here is a chance for Blitchfield to send this back in behind the net. Olsen now to the right side bumper, but Czechia might have numbers here as Koch turns it over. Short-handed chance toward the net. Gets deflected and picked up now by Denmark. That was maybe a goal saver. Could have been right on backhand, right on top. It would have hit. 20 seconds left to go in Denmark's first power play. Olsen, right side dot. He's in across the wall, throws it back to D. Denmark. Again, as we said, surveying for a lane. Very patient here, but you got to get some shots on this power play. How many are you going to get? Here's a chance it gets blockered out in front toward the left side dot. Power play is expired to 5. No shots on this power play, as this is Olsen toward the right side. Fischer Molgaard throws it out in front. One-timer. This one finally hits Lukas Dostal on the gloves. And Czechia will watch this one get flipped back down the ice. So Denmark just one shot as Setkov has it in behind his own net from Andersen on that power play. Halfway expired, getting there. 30 seconds left to go in the first. We're still scoreless between Czechia and Denmark as this one goes up into the players' benches. Yeah, normally in the stories, you're going to make sure I get a graph to write some of the main events that go on so I can leave myself some mental notes. But really, ladies and gentlemen, there isn't any right now as far as danger chances. I think that's why I said to Ian and anyone that jumps in on the YouTube side at all, if you do late, probably not. Again, it's not a preeminent matchup, but still, Czechia's got to show you a lot more than this at this point. Here is an attempted cross pass that gets deflected near the left side dot. One-timer for Sedlak, and that will get deflected. Lars Eller is going to play some defense in his own crease. He gets thefted, and now Czechia had it. And then another one for Eller, who comes back toward the middle of the circles to get a much-needed stick lift. Czechia, Shemek, throw it at the point for a 1T. This one deflected and off the bumper again, left side. 9:50 left to go on the first. Shot board is 6-4, but we're still scoreless here. You got to wonder how much longer that lasts. Jensen trying to break out of his own zone, getting the left side red line. This will be stopped by Lukas Dostal. Freddie Andersen, probably a couple better of the saves, but that's it. That's all right now. Another attempted clear in for Denmark. Try to get some ozone time. This is just kept in a left side point, but it's given right to Czechia. See if they can go right to left. Fleck will send this across. David Tomasek with an attempted pass right in the middle of the circles. And now Denmark will go ahead and settle it down. Tomasek was a former member early this year of the Edmonton Oilers. He got some time alongside Isaac Howard in that bottom 6, but since that has changed, he's playing overseas. As Faravari will send this one back down deep. Denmark on a steal in their own end. Fischer Molgaard will throw this one back to the point. Here's a deflected chance. Does not hit Dostal. And Czechia. Here is another opportunity here. And off the half spin, not a bad move there. High slot there for Spacek. Another one-timer toward the right side dot is Czechia, I guess, content to just throw pucks in from everywhere, but not even hitting the net, but just being blocked. As this will be settled back down. Kempney. He was pretty good in that 5-0 loss. You don't say that normally very often, but defensively he did about as much as he could against Canada. It was too powerful. As Radko Gudas will flip this one back down the ice. This is not ice. This is hit off the stick of Freddie Andersen. That is a break for Denmark. It's 8:10 left to go on the first, as now they can gain an entry. Picked up off the back skate. This is pretty decent work there. And alongside for Nick Olsen. 7:55 left to go on the first. Czechia now. Here the right side boards, they'll chase it in between Freddie Andersen. This will be deflected by Nick B. Jensen on defense. Kasha, former Boston Bruin. Ondrej Kasha turns around and shoots. This one get deflected near the left side red line, and Denmark plays some defense in their own end. 7:35 left to go on the first. A lot of these shots for both of these teams right now have been from distance. They've been deflected out front and not really getting chances in the middle of the slot. Middle of the slot's been covered between both of them right now. We'll see how much longer that holds. Fischer Molgaard throw this one up and out of play. We'll get a neutral zone draw when we come back. About 7 minutes left of the first. 6-4 shot board. We're still scoreless.
I missed the last few hockey broadcasts you've done. Figured it was time I caught one.
Well, Ian, hopefully you haven't had to get up too early, or you're getting prepared for work or anything else either, because if you're joining in for this one, you're a trooper because this is probably going to be the roughest matchup we're going to get this week.
Yeah. Well.
Well, we're hoping for U.S. Canada on Sunday, but I have a little tiny concern that the U.S. might not get there. I don't really have any concern for Canada. I mean, we saw it in the Four Nations, and alongside Jordan Bennington. I know at the beginning of the year, and you can talk about it with the St. Louis Blues and some of the numbers in the regular season, but as soon as we got to the Olympics, I didn't have any worries about Jordan Bennington.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's quite obvious Jordan Bennington isn't the problem at St. Louis. It is strictly the fact that they just don't have the same level of talent around them that they once had.
Yeah, that's really all it is. It's kind of what I thought was a little bit interesting when they talked about, is there any kind of controversy for Logan Thompson? No. He's going to play off the back-to-back. But when you're getting in the middle rounds and you're beginning play, either against Czechia or Denmark tomorrow, you're going to see Jordan Bennington in the goal crease. He's going to have to run all the way from Wednesday to Friday to Sunday, and that's all it would be. Again, we'll see, because, again, they won Group A. This is Group A action now. You got Group B, who was Slovakia, and then Group C for the United States. The reason why they got the easiest seed is because Tage Thompson won in the Worlds last year in overtime, so that's where you end up getting the seeding from the Olympic side. We're just glad to have that back, as this puck goes up and on play at 7:06. Again, I counted, let me just go back in through my notes. If you want to go ahead, yes, you got Nikolaj Ehlers as the preeminent, maybe Oliver Bjorkstrand as a bottom six if we're going to be kind, but then Lars, Eller, Alexander True, and Oscar Fischer Molgaard. I'm not necessarily certain if you want to say maybe 2.5, 3 NHLers in comparison to Pastrnak, Hertl, Necas, Palat, Kubalik, Hronek, Radko, Gudas, and then your 3 goaltenders in Vejmelka, Dostal, and Vladar. It should be, as I said with Ian, this is much more advantage for Czechia, but we're not seeing it right now. Slap pass in from the high slot. David Pastrnak, as this one gets played in behind the net, trying to dump in tight, and this will be fought off by Freddie Andersen with the left pad. 6:40 left to go in the first. There's a loose lumber and alongside Jensen of Denmark, who's on the pinch. And Denmark now just trying to push in toward the left side in their own end and pry this loose. This looks like a rugby scrum. I'm not even joking here. 6:25, and Pastrnak gets dumped hard, and this one goes out to the neutral zone. The refs did not have a penalty hand in the air. This will be flipped back down off the ice. Not very smart there for Czechia, so this will give Denmark some possession. Pastrnak got hit pretty hard. In this tournament so far, just 3 points. Plus minus of even. He's got 10 shots on goal, but he's not been able to generate alongside for this team. I think that should be partially better offensively. I know they're matched up against Canada in the group stages, as mentioned, but still, with that many NHLers, you really can't struggle against Denmark and then expect to have to play Canada off the back-to-back. And these playoff qualifications, when you're at this point, you do not get the rest, and then the loser goes home. So that will give advantage to the higher seeds, and then whoever wins, it gets reseeded again Wednesday. Pastrnak will have this one turned over, as this will be spun back toward the left side of the glass. And I have to start again now for Filip Bergerser of Fishtown, if I have that one correct on the NHL side, as this one will be flipped back toward the left side. One-timer deflected off of Kempny of the defense of Czechia. And we got 5:35 left to go in the first. Long outstretched pass will be intercepted in Czechia's left side blue line defensive end. Pick it up now for Kempny off the spin and turn. Good reversal of the hit. Denmark try to throw it into the corner. The courtesy stop by Dostal behind the net. Little soft forecheck. Denmark trying to hold the line. It's Kempny now off the rush. We'll throw this one back down amongst the point, as it is Marty Necas. And the left side bumper picked up now for David Kampf. This will go to the point now on the right side. Long shot gets deflected. Doesn't hit Freddie Andersen. And all one ahead for Denmark. Now Czech lost the puck, but is Czechia now. Denmark with 3 back to Czechia's 2 forecheckers. It is Necas with a chance, and this one goes above the net. The left side for Jan Rutta was wide open, and he completely missed it. As this is settled back down for Czechia in their own end. 4:30 left to go in the first round. With you alongside Genge, who's graciously joined me for this playoff qualification for this game to turn into a little bit of a simmer. Right at the 4:20 mark, it's been iced against Czechia. Shot board 8-4, and I'm still trying to look through my notes to whether or not I want to talk about any high danger I have any to tell you about, unfortunately. In this first, it has just been nip and tuck, kind of feels like. Marek Zidlichki is the assistant head coach, and I believe he's played for the New Jersey Devils, longtime NHLer. Russell and Hertl. Russell wins another draw. That's been the one thing you can say against Tomas Hertl, 0-for-3 in the circle. And this will be settled back down for another icing against Czechia, their 3rd straight. Only 10 seconds have expired. 4:10 left to go in the first, still scoreless. Switzerland got a 3-0 result on Italy. That is what you did expect. You got Filip Kurashev, Roman Josi, and Nico Hischier on the power play. 2 goals in the first paced it enough, and Italy really didn't have a chance throughout this tournament, as we mentioned, but their goaltending, I think, stood up about as much as it could. Again, I will have the pairings all typed up here toward the end of the day as well. Sweden and Latvia will be the late game at 3:10 as Dostal fights it off amongst traffic. I was thinking about maybe doing that game, but I'm just trying to see what the possibility of Czechia and their offense, if they can't ignite. Jansen from the point. This is a glove save attempt for Dostal, but it goes up high. And now Denmark was able to keep it in the zone for a moment. Pastrnak trying to get a steal, and Tomas Hertl looked to escape out of his own end. Spot check. We'll throw this pass here for Pasta. Now into the left side, off the drop for David Spacek. He tries to get a curl and drag shot. That'll get deflected and go all the way back into Czechia's end. 3:05 left to go in the first, where Milano Cortina for the start of playoff qualifications begin. This is essentially knockout rounds today. Now to the right side, long one-timer. This one will hit the right side glass. Kept on the right side bumper for Poster, but he's forced out now. And 2:53 might have been a hand pass offside call. And that will stop play one more time. One more break before we end the first. We might end it scoreless between Czechia and Denmark.
So when we ended off, when we ended off the first half before the Winter Olympics.
Yep.
Currently, we were looking at Buffalo being a playoff, being a secure playoff spot.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, I thought I saw them as one of the division leaders.
They were almost right there. If the Red Wings didn't win one of those games against the Colorado Avalanche, they're just 2 points out of it, Ian. The Red Wings have 72. They're the 3rd seed. Buffalo 70. They are 5 points to the good of the next closest of the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Wow. So
we're talking about a stretch, too, where Buffalo has gone like 21-1-2 or something like that to get back into the race.
Yeah, that is insane. And John, there is still a very good chance my preseason prediction for the East comes to fruition. Just not in the way that I expected. That being the Blue Jackets securing a wild card spot and the Capitals are on the outs.
Yeah, we both agreed on the Caps. Again, we were both really essentially agreed on the Caps and Blue Jackets. Nobody's going to be able to say the Sabres, but when you have the coaching change, they were able to bring in from Rick Bonus. Essentially, I think that also tells you, okay, Dean Evison might have been a good coach at one point, but whatever he was doing in Columbus with all the talent that they have, Ian, was simply not working.
No.
And also, you mentioned this too. Again, not part of the predictions to have to choose, but if you're going to pick a team that was probably going to miss, I know that you were also talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs. They're at 63 points right now. At the portion of this break, we got one more week here in Milano. It is 6 points out of a wild card spot for them. They've been playing better lately, just to be 27, 21, and 9, but they're still a little bit out. New York Rangers are one of those teams that are completely done at 50 points as we get the puck that goes up and out of play at 223. And then just for brevity purposes, the Vancouver Canucks, again, they're trying to play for the number one pick now at this point, 18, 33, and 6, as the bottom's fallen completely out. They have only won 6 home games. That is the same as the New York Rangers, with 57 games played on the year. I don't know how that's possible, but that's certainly what they did.
Yeah. That, yeah, that's pitiful.
6. I mean, we've seen expansion teams to at least get to that amount of point. I mean, you get nothing for your home fans. Why even buy tickets? And then when you're playing on a Canadian side of the seed, right, you're always playing to have the higher prices because it's a preeminent franchise in Canada. And yeah, it doesn't work out so well. Here's a chance now wide and a tripping call against Denmark at 2:06. So this might be the door finally open. Marty Necas drives toward the right side of the paint and forces an infraction. And this might be the door opening here as Denmark goes to the box. Let me give you a number on that. I thought I saw 25, but I don't see that on my sheet. Must have been a call up there. Yeah, it is not on the NHL sheet. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. Larson, it looks like, is the one going to the box. Again, ESPN's not going to track that. And unless I pull up on live sport, I'd have too many roster sheets in front of me. So that's just one we're not going to have. Pastrnak from Hronek is this one we flip back down again. Filip Hronek's got to be happy that he's playing in the Olympics now for Czechia, even though they're 1-1-1. You get a break to play for the Vancouver Canucks, for the former Red Wing. 1 for 8 is Czechia on their power play. That should certainly be better. And now this will be a dump in. This will allow Denmark to be able to kill some time. 1:35 left to go in the first, only a 3-second difference on the power play clock. Denmark's penalty killing has been pretty good at 83%. They've only conceded 1 time. This is picked up now toward the right side bumper. Now we'll see if Hronek can get things going. Pastrnak, left dot, does not shoot, as he's still kept on the outside. Hronek back to Marty Necas. Pastrnak will pick it up across the left side bumper, and Necas gets bowled over. And this will allow Denmark to send this back down. But I wouldn't say embarrassing for Czechia at this point because the scoreline is still level. But I just want to see them get shots on their power play. And the Pastrnak hit again. Denmark on a 1-on-3. There's this shot goes wide, short-handed to Lukas Dostal. A couple shooting opportunities. Pastrnak throws it right up the gut, right to Denmark. My goodness. Try to look for Fischer Molgaard, and this would be a clear from 130. And settle back down now for David Spacek. Again, he's playing for the Iowa Hawkeyes right now, as this is sent back in behind the end board. So we'll get some time in the NHL very soon. I believe he's still property of the Minnesota Wild. Another short-handed opportunity here for Denmark, as they'll force it into the net of Lukas Dostal and force Czechia to clear this one back down. We'll get some puck possession here. Even the former LA Kings announcer is saying it looks like a disaster for Czechia, and I'd have to agree, as this one's flipped back down. Listen to the power play side. That ends the first. Denmark gets a couple of shorthanded chances. They don't make anything of it, but at least they killed Czechia's power play time completely, and we're scoreless after one. That's the only thing I'm really going to mark in my notes here that we need to mark. Let me just do one last standing set, Ian, and then I'll have a couple of questions here for you. Maybe even be baseball related as well, but I want to get your thoughts.
Oh, yeah, we can definitely talk baseball. I'm actually looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're going to be getting very close to the World Baseball Classic, and I'm going to be planning on doing a few of those games at least. So shots on goal for Czechia, Denmark after one are 8-6. They don't track hits on the live sport box, and ESPN doesn't track anything in the Olympics, but the face-offs are 12-5 for Denmark. So at least they're starting with puck possession. Again, if you talk about it on a grandstand of things, whoever plays this matchup and wins it tomorrow is going to get pasted by Canada, but that really isn't the point. I would say you have to showcase something and play for pride. No, you're not really eliminated at this point, but at a 0-0 scoreline after 20 for Czechia, it kind of feels a little underwhelming to me, considering how many NHLers that they have. All right, so face-offs 12-5 Denmark, as we said. Shots on goal 8-6 Czechia, and Denmark was able to push Czechia around on their own power play. Both teams 0-1. That'll be the last thing I throw in there. On the power play, and unless things change, this is going to be an awfully short story. So let me go ahead and pull up this schedule here, because I want to ask Ian some baseball questions, or at least kind of think about what we'll be looking at. So there are some MLB teams that will be running exhibition skirmishes against the WBC teams. That's pretty cool. That actually begins Tuesday, March 3rd, so just a couple weeks from now. And it looks like the tournament's going to begin on Wednesday, March 4th. There was a graphic that had the entire schedule that I wanted to kind of see and see who's where they are in the standings. But that'll begin March 5th to 17th. You got San Juan, the Tokyo Dome, Houston, and Miami will be your sites. But what do you like so far, Ian, in Major League Baseball as far as moves in the off season?
Well, we know what the Dodgers did.
Landing Kyle Tucker is outrageously good for them. I mean, I know that's the obvious statement, but you can take whatever numbers went down for Mookie Betts last year and completely slash those, because you had someone that goes right in the middle of that offense yet again.
Yeah. And although a piece of interesting news right before the broadcast, did you see that it looks like the president of the MLB Players Union is resigning?
I did not see that.
That it's a rumor right now.
I wonder what that means going forward. Again, Tony Clark, that's the former Tiger. Yeah, the MLBPA is reporting losing its leader months before the collective bargaining agreement. I just see this on Yahoo Sports. to expiring CBA.
Yeah. Here's what I think it means. I think it means two things. The MLB will not be heading into a lockout with the new CBA agreement. However, it will be more of the same. The rich get richer, and the cheap owners are not going to be made to spend because there will be no penalty against them.
So you don't see any way, and I agree with you, I wasn't even going to bring this up, but you don't see any way we ever find ourselves into a salary cap, because I don't think that behooves the owners that spend. They don't want one.
The only way that happens is if the Dodgers win over 120 games, then there's something to talk about.
Okay. It would have to be something so outlandish.
A team would have to get close to being undefeated in a 162 game season and over 120 wins with that level of talent on their roster. I mean, it's not beyond the pale to think of that, and I really think that'd be the only way if the Dodgers just steamrolled everyone on the way to a three-peat.
I don't disagree with you, Ian.
Easy for them.
Right. The one thing I think you and I can both say, when you have 162 games, Dodgers are a shoo-in for 100 wins, correct? They're going to at least get there. But once we start to think about the 110s, I think even that's definitely possible. 120, again, I know you're throwing it out there. I agree with you, is not out of the realm of possibility. The really only factor I see is their pitching depth. Again, remember last year you told me about it, and you're exactly right. The Dodgers were able to win essentially the World Series because they had their starters go as deep as they did, and you had Yoshinobu Yamamoto have to come out there multiple times to be able to finish that off as well. And now they've actually added a bullpen, so I don't disagree with any of your sentiments.
Yeah, so right now, I believe the 1906 Cubs and the 1906 Cubs record was 116 victories for 95 years. Then the 2001 Mariners came along.
Yeah.
They broke that record. Let me see here. They tied that record. They tied that record with 116 wins in a season. The Mariners did. So if the Dodgers somehow win, let's say 125, shoot, that may not even be enough to get a
salary cap.
A salary cap, yeah, because the excuse will, because the reasoning will be, well, the Dodgers, were able, it's always the same thing. Even though they buy players, there was no guarantee that they were going to win that. I mean, that's, I guess, I don't know if we'll ever see a salary cap, to be honest. The time to do that was back in the 90s, and nobody was touching out the 10-foot pole.
No.
And, I mean, to be honest, I think owners, here's what has to happen. If there is no no salary cap, then at some point, fans need to make it clear that they will not watch crappy baseball from these cheap owners, which means Rockies fans,
Right.
Pirates fans, Athletics fans. Actually, John Fisher may be forced to sell the Athletics at some point, considering how badly the move to Las Vegas is going. I mean, you saw the story where a coalition of fans bought the trademark
Yes, I did.
for the team. You know, John Fisher may be forced to sell the Athletics, and I really hope he does. And more to it, if they're not able to get the trademark back, it will be a waste of money for Las Vegas. But I hope that the Athletics are forced to go back to Oakland.
Hell, you never know in that situation that's gotten so messy. When you shared that story with me, I absolutely couldn't believe it. I do just want to take one little graph here for what we were just talking about in the Players Union for Tony Clark. And I saw this one on Yahoo Sports, and they said this was also from ESPN for this quote, but Deputy Executive Director Bruce Meyer, who played a big role in the 2022 CBA negotiations, is the most likely candidate to replace Tony Clark as Major League Baseball player executive director, but that's not guaranteed because players reportedly took issue with Meyer as recently as 2024, asking for him to be fired. So that would be Manfred's next in line for negotiations in the CBA, and the players don't necessarily agree with it. And then you're also talking about FanDuel and everything else finally getting moved on. You know, the Cleveland Guardians went ahead and be able to get their games broadcasted on MLB. And then you got that mess that if FanDuel expires, like how it is under the Tigers umbrella, it's important for me because it's Tigers, Red Wings, and Pistons, that maybe you could get it on an MLB package, but you also have to have the ESPN Unlimited. And it is a pain in the you-know-what to try to watch your own teams. And that is another thing that I don't like, that they need to really get fixed. So Ian and I talked about, potential salary cap or what's going on in Major League Baseball and some other things that fans might not like. You also might not like it when you can't watch your own teams and all you're trying to do is watch a damn baseball game.
Yeah, and the thing about that is, we don't talk about this at all, but here's something interesting that I heard. The WWE they had their flagship pay-per-view WrestleMania in Vegas this year. There was an article that came out stating that the program was not to be broadcasted within a 50 in public forums within a 50-mile radius of where they're holding it.
Okay.
So what that means is bars, restaurants, other venues, and the like, even though they were willing to buy the fee to show the program in their restaurants, they're not allowed to. So it's either people that want to watch WrestleMania, they have to buy the tickets and sell a part of their soul to do it, or they have to watch it at home. They can't go anywhere to have a public watch party.
I don't understand why WWE or anyone would even do that, any kind of event. Boxing, that was pretty common back in the day where you would used to do that at bars. You lose corporate business and local business and everything else as well. It doesn't help anybody.
Well, you know what it is. You know who did that once upon a time? The guy known as Dollar Bill, the guy that used to own the Chicago Blackhawks.
Oh boy.
He would not show the Blackhawks games on TV, and his reasoning was the real fans will buy a ticket to show up to the games.
Oh, spare me. Those aren't the ones that kind of get all the other stuff and bills paid. Yeah, you want them to fill the seats, but the ones that aren't fulfilling the TV contracts and getting everyone else paid, that's a huge problem. You gotta broadcast the games.
Yeah, and funny enough, once Dollar Bill passed away and ownership was passed on, they finally got the TV contracts in order. People were watching, and wouldn't you know it, you started seeing a whole lot of Blackhawks jerseys on Chicagoans in public because they knew who the players were. They developed a relationship with said players, and they bought into the product again, which is still dumbfounding.
Yeah.
How baseball as a whole does not understand this.
I agree with you, Ian. It's so split in between Apple, and now Netflix is going to get some games. Maybe Peacock gets some games. ESPN will get their side. Fox Sports. It's split everywhere. Like, at least what I'll say for Gary Bettman at the beginning of it, I think at the beginning of his tenure, we were all talking maybe we'll see he was in line as the worst general manager as far as all pro sports. I have no complaints over the last probably 5 or 6 years. I think he's kind of recovered some of that image, and Gary Bettman doesn't look all that bad at all. And having everything on ESPN Plus now, where all I have to do is pay like the basic fee, and I can watch all the other games, I love it.
Aside from the in-market games of your local team, but that's, you know what, compared to the fact that you can't really watch baseball at all.
No.
On some streaming networks, that's a small price to pay.
I agree.
But yeah, I mean, YouTube TV does not carry the MLB network. I can't even watch that for highlights. And again, I get it. Okay, I know we're getting back into this, but I'll finish it up with this. I understand the RSN deals at the end were an absolute disaster with COVID-19 and everything else.
Sure.
Throwing everything into a tailspin. But you mean to tell me that once that subsided, you couldn't, especially the smaller market teams, you couldn't somehow negotiate a deal with one of your local networks to show the games when they were on there? For instance, our CBS affiliate, KCTV5, or the NBC affiliates, or one of the local for us it's Channel 38 The Spot. I don't know what if Detroit has a local local news channel.
I know what you're talking about. It'd be like My TV 20 or some kind of Fox 2 or anything else that's close to us. Again, the play is getting underway. This isn't for me to kind of interrupt Ian because I'm enjoying talking. They were showing the play, then they went back to a friggin' commercial here on Peacock. So it's underway right now, but we can't watch it. So once it does come back, and hopefully we didn't miss a goal here. Let's see. Wrist stir saved by Freddie Andersen off the replay with a glove save. This is off a 2-on-1. But no, I appreciate the discussion, Ian, and I agree because you and I are going to have to talk about this a little bit more and throughout the year because the press statement that was thrown across from the MLB, I want to end on this. They said they might broadcast some of their games on NHL Network because it's Red Wings. And I was like, are you going to put MLB on NHL Network? Well, I guess they could all absorb into one and call it something else, ? But we don't know yet until the season starts. And the season's going to start pretty much at the beginning of March.
Yeah, I have no idea what the Royals are going to do. FanDuel has flown the coop. I'm not even sure what's going on.
No, because you and I are under the same umbrella. We're both under the FanDuel conglomerate. So that's why I think this discussion is particular of interest to both of us who just want to watch our damn teams. This is sit back in mind the inboards. Because again, whether Justin Verlander suits as a 4 or 5 now that Reese Olson's gone, I'd like to see him. And then they actually spent some money and signed Framber Valdez. And then Skubal wins his arbitration case. So Tigers have pitching depth this year. I would like to see them do something offensively, which they didn't do, but I'd like to watch this team.
Yeah, right.
18:25 left to go in the second as I can pull back up my notes. We'll get into the World Baseball Classic schedule here, but that was a good discussion for Ian and I, and I appreciate it. This will be flipped back down here for Lukas Dostal. And the left bumper, again, I think we're safely away from all the commercials now that we're going in between plays. It didn't have enough ads. Jan Rutta will send this one back down. Again, still scoreless. Both teams with 0 for 1 in their power play, but Denmark was really pressing on Czechia's. Again, they had it in the zone 3 times, didn't really get shots on it, but still able to kill it all off. As Olsen will get it to Ehlers. Will be content to send this one back for Dostal as we flip ends. Again, Czechia in the all red with the blue helmets. Denmark in the white with the red pants. As Tomasek will throw this one back around. Olsen will try to get it out here for Denmark. This will be chipped back down. Czechia now will watch this one go back behind Denmark's goal crease of Freddie Andersen. And off the long flip, a little bit of a slew flip there, not called. Don't say that very often. Denmark blows a tire, and this will go back toward the right side dot. Flip back around. Olofsson will run it around the end boards, and Czechia is off. 17-10 left to go in the second. This is a very sleepy game so far as Stransky goes off sides. Mateusz Stransky at Czechia, 3 games played, 1 goal, 1 assist, 3 shots on goal. But again, we went over the names in the beginning of it. I'll probably reset that one more time as we get halfway through this. Just not seeing the offense, and if you're Canada, I might say you would get the easiest matchup and to start the quarterfinals. The way that it's going, I know that they've been the highest seed. They're tied with the United States between Group A and Group C, but still, where is the offense? Oscar Fischer Molgaard can't win it for Denmark. He plays some center time. Again, good to see some of the younger Seattle Kraken members get Olympic time. I think that's only going to help boom them more. They're not that far away from a playoff spot, probably just 3 or 4 points out. Been too many fits and starts because they're not a good offensive team. They're a decent defensive team, though. As Jensen. Now we'll send this one to the right side dot. Long outstretched pass. Bounced off the stick of Czechia, so the icing is negated. And we'll start this again for Kempny. Hit it off the glass, looking for 88 and Pastrnak. He is open in the middle of the slot. Chance behind the net, try to look for Pastrnak on his backhand, but he had to pivot, and off his recollect, lost the puck. Czechia, fans on it. Denmark on a partial break, and that was sticked away by Freddie Andersen. That was the first dangerous chance of the game, as this was settled back down now for Czechia. Trying to get a number on that as well. That was Nicholas Jensen. One-timer at the net, goes off the side of the outside of the post as Ondrej Kasha had a chance, and then a hook toward the face will draw a penalty. Czechia going to go to the power play. Ondrej Palat got hit there, and this will be a power play opportunity upcoming for Czechia as the shot board reads 10-7. So I think Ondrej Palat was the one just before the Olympic break that got traded to the New York Islanders. And then we had a little bit of a collision and a hold and between Radko Gudas. And then let's see what happens here. Palat trying to get, that was a good save from Freddie Andersen with the right pad, and we'll stack it. Ondrej Kasha on a chase. And they hook to the face. Lars Eller is the one that's going to go to the box, and that's a shame for Denmark because that's one of their best players. Again, I know he's getting long in the tooth, but as far as NHL experience and penalty killing, that would still be done at this point in his career, and he's not there. So Czechia leads the shot board 11-7. Somebody's got to lead this scoreboard here. Picked up now off the backhand as this will be knocked away for Roman Cervenka. First time I call his name. He is the captaincy for Team Czechia. He has been utterly silent, number 10. He's usually one of those guys you can watch for. This will be off the long flip one more time for Denmark. Again, their power play was not successful for Czechia, so Denmark again now at 86%. They've added to their penalty kill percentage. Been good in this tournament. Cervenka at the point. He's got this one down in the left side dot. Back to Sedlak and Cervenka now, left bumper. Cervenka, left circle, will get it back. Slap pass, one-timer, easily read by Andersen, no screen. Sedlak couldn't get there in time. 15-11 left to go on the second. It's 1:15 left in Czechia's second power play. They got the Pastrnak line back out there. He was just out there essentially 40 seconds ago, but you've got to find a way to ignite the pilot light here, especially now that Lars Eller's in the box this time around. So it'll be an ozone draw into the left side dot. Russell will get a chance to take another one. This time it won't be Tomas Hertl to take it because Russell's been dominating in the draw for Denmark. He's won 4 straight, this time defensively, and that will allow Denmark to get possession and full soul clear down the ice to Dostal. 5 minutes have expired in this second. Joining with you alongside Ian Genge, who's graciously joined me here for this playoff qualification round. Again, winner plays Canada in Group A, loser goes home. Loser will go home in every single one of these. We got one more matchup, Sweden and Latvia. That's set for 3:10 Eastern. My story so far of this game will be done way before that starts. It won't be long when this is pressing. David Pastrnak near the right side dot from Cervenka. High slot, Pasta, got it. Got to shoot this one. Works to the left side dot, but he stick drags to Cervenka. He's kept on the outside. High slide now, one-timer scores. Finally something for Czechia to cheer about. That bullet beat Andersen clean near the right side. Marty Necas draws first blood, and Czechia's got the opener here at 14:21 of the second.
Finally, something happens.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say it that way, and this has been dreadful as far as offense on both of these, but power play, Eller in the box, Marty Necas scores. No surprise, we've seen him do a lot of that for the Avs and the Canes.
So what does so is this a game to get to the knockout stage?
Yes, this is the games to get to the knockout stage. You got one last chance for any teams that have had a poor enough record to try to advance, and if they do, they got to play again tomorrow against the higher seeded opponent. You're correct.
Gotcha.
So we'll take a look at this one more time and from the replay, and Palat's there to provide a screen, and that is a good shot, top right corner. No chance. Jensen trying to fight out Palat. Lars Eller again, look at disgust. He knows the high stick's going to cost them eventually. And a 1-0 lead for Czechia here. 14:10 left to go in the second, but it certainly took a while. Here will be an opportunity for Oscar Fischer Molgaard in the circle. That's the one thing Denmark has done. They've started with puck possession, but they've got to find a way to get to the other end of the ice. Czechia scores one more here. You'd think they'd feel comfortable. Stick drag attempt for Tomas Hertl. Denmark essentially playing a man down, chasing behind the net without a stick as their captaincy. David Kampf sees it as he throws it off the outside of the cage. He was looking for Palat. This will be cleared back down the ice. And Denmark will at least be able to get a piece of twig back, but they can't change their lines on ice at 13:38. Let me give you on the live sport box who got the assist set up here for Marty Necas, Filip, Hronek, and Cervenka, the captaincy. I'll type those in a moment. Another shot will be gloved down by Freddie Andersen. think we might be taking a not a TV timeout because it's only on Peacock, but they'll go to commercial here. So give me time to type this in.
Though I am looking forward to the to baseball season, because here's what I think is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Tigers are going to win the division, just straight up. They're going to win the Central. I really don't see how. I mean, I see how they could have, but I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think a collapse is going to happen.
No, not with this pitching staff now. I agree.
No. And I made this prediction in another space, and I'll give it to you.
Okay.
In the East, I think the Blue Jays win the East again. Actually, we're coming back, so I'll tell you about this in a second.
That's fine if you want to go ahead and lead into it. There's not much going on, but
right. So, the Blue Jays win the East again because I believe they figured it out. With their core and their pitching, I don't think it's a fluke. I think they'll come back and win. And as for the West, I think the Mariners go back-to-back for division champs again. But as for the wild cards,
mm-hmm.
as much as it pains me to say it, I think the Yankees get a wild card spot.
Yeah. Yes.
Because that's always going to happen. It's inevitable. This may surprise you. I don't think Boston is going to repeat what they did last season, so they're going to miss out. I think the Astros are going to take another wild card position because it looks like they've revamped a little bit, especially their pitching with that signing from Japan.
Yes.
And then it goes to the third wild card spot. I think the Royals are capable of getting one of those spots, but it's going to come down to beating out two teams in particular. And that is the Cleveland Guardians, because no matter what happens, no matter who they lose or who they get, Cleveland Guardians are always in playoff contention because
you got Jose
have
Ramirez.
The survivability of a cockroach in a nuclear apocalypse.
Yeah, Jose Ramirez,
Stephen Kwan, and others. And the other team they have to beat out, the Texas Rangers, because you never know what you're going to get with the Texas Rangers with how much money they spend.
Yeah, their big addition was Mackenzie Gore. I like what they did in terms of that, but I also like what the Nationals did again. I mean, I know they're not ready yet, but I think the Washington Nationals with James Wood and some of the other guys that they have there, they're building themselves back. And it won't be that long from, the Juan Soto World Series with Max Scherzer and all that. So they get back to a team, I think that could be dangerous for a little bit. They got a lot of talent.
Yeah, so but the Guardians and the Rangers, those are the two teams that the Royals have to stay ahead of to get that third wild card. Unless somehow the Yankees absolutely collapse because they rely on Aaron Judge too much. That would be hilarious.
Alexander True with a back pass. We are tied at 1. Denmark responds. My goodness. Unbelievable. Denmark trying, as we were talking, to go ahead and ignite the pilot light with a couple of 1T opportunities. This is a pretty clean goal if you're able to see this right now. Good play right toward the left side, red line. No chance for Lukas Dostal. That's an NHL level goal, if I can say.
Wow. Ooh, that was nice.
That was pretty nasty. That was true. Passes it toward the left side red line, gets it back in quick succession, and dinks it into an open net. That's a really beautiful goal for Denmark. And we got some offense going here in the second period. Finally, Blichfield is the one that's going to get the assist. As Freddie Andersen, it was a big hit behind the net. Ian, I appreciate your discussions. I would say I have to follow a little bit more with the Astros as far as that. I couldn't comment only because I haven't followed what they did as much in the offseason, but I'll definitely look at that in the second intermission as we got a 1-1 game now picked up on the backhand here for Czechia. And if they're not careful, Denmark finds another opportunity like that. We still got another period to go here, about halfway through this game at 10:20. Starting to finally pick up now as Tomas Hertl on his backhand. The high slot for Kempney. This shot gets blocked. And this will be settled back around for Olofsson toward the right side of the glass. This is stick chopped a couple times, and it's just a massive humanity near the players' benches. This will allow Czechia to get possession out of it. See if they can get any shots. Jan Rutta leading off the rush in a baseball-style snag, as we were just talking about it. Freddie Andersen will make it now. A little bit of pushing and shoving here, but that'll subside. Denmark has tied it. A very pretty goal from True. Gets this one level at 1. So again, Necas, Hronek, and Cervenka, that was on the power play. This one, even strength. It will be from True and Blichfield, as we mentioned, to make sure I just get this spelling correct and throw this in the portion of my box for the story. But the former member of the Seattle Kraken is the one that starts the scoring for Denmark. From Joachim Blichfield. And again, as Ian and I mentioned, that's a goal that would be as pretty as anything you would see in the NHL. Just beautiful puck movement. They had a one-timer that was denied by Dostal a couple minutes before that as we were going through some of the highlights. And then David Kemp now will try to take this one against Lars Eller. Be an ozone draw win for Czechia. 9:50 left to go in the second. Watching this one on Peacock alongside Ian Genge. My name is John Hahn. Jan Rutta throws it at the net. This one pinballs in. It didn't. I don't think it's going to be Rutta's goal, but he sent it toward the net after the faceoff went with the traffic in front after nothing going on in the first. It's 3 goals in the second. Czechia now takes a 2-1 lead, and that starts from a faceoff win for David Kemp. Does this get deflected? Does this bounce off of Denmark's number 20? This gets sent toward the net. I don't know if David Kemp got a piece of it. It went off of Denmark's blade. It went off Lars Eller. We'll see who gets credit for the goal. I'll look that up in a second. This puck goes off Lars Eller. Another chance off the rush. This will be saved by Freddie Andersen as all of a sudden his goal crate's getting busy. Nick Ehlers. That was an emotional goal for True to score to level it back for Denmark, and now they got to find a way to get another one. But this second period has opened up. We didn't see any of this in the first, and I really can't pick one way or the other why the pilot got initiated, but essentially it finally did. Both these teams maybe got some coffee. As it's Ehlers now. High slot pass, a little bit too hard off of the skate of Larson. As he'll send this one back at the point. One-timer saved by Dostal, and then he'll slide over and make another save. And all of a sudden, I've had to write a lot of notes here from the start of the second, especially on the back half of this, as we're 8:49 left to go in the second. David Camp, goal, 2 assists, 3 shots on goal, +3. I think he is going to be the preeminent credit for that goal. So it is David Camp from Jan Rutta and Marty Necas. Necas gets his second point of the game. Once we get another stoppage, I will type that one in. It is 2-1 Czechs now. All the goals have been scored in the third and second period as this one goes up and on the plate at 8:46. We'll do it again. Are you kidding me? I typed that one in and I get David Cervenka the other way for Czechia. He scores. My apologies. Didn't get that one exactly live. 8:36 left to go in the second. 4 goals scored in this second period, and now Czechia starting to look like themselves as the captaincy goes the length and rips the wrister. We'll give you the replay here in a second. So Pastrnak with a flip pass. It's a good one. It's a chase off the one-on-one, and Cervenka, he barred down, roofs that thing from the left side dot, beats Freddie Andersen, super clean there. And Czechia is off and running here in this middle frame. This was the offense I was kind of expecting in this game against Denmark. It took a while, but the Czechs now got 3 goals. That was a good shot.
Dang, that was...
that was pretty clean. I mean, we've seen a couple really nice goals in this game, Ian, from some guys that really aren't NHLers, but that was an NHL level shot.
Yeah.
Hertl can't hold the line, and this will go back now for the Czechs. Now, if they can do a little bit more of this against Canada, I will give them a puncher's chance. I'm not going to say they're going to win outright. I'd be foolish to say that. But if you could at least get 2 or 3 goals on Jordan Binnington, you would have to force Canada to sweat, even with the talent they have. But you got to do much better than the 5-0 opening loss. That was day 2 of the Olympics. As this will be settled back down. Picked up now off the rush. Here's another opportunity for Necas. Again, he's got a 2.9, couple of goal and an assist. As this will be settled back down now. 7:30 left to go in the middle frame. Denmark essentially looking themselves at life support here. I know it's only a 2-goal game, but you got that 1 goal that was pretty nice from True, as we talked about, but you got to find more. Here's a touch pass from Camp. Not a bad one, as this will be rolling vulcanized rubber, settled down. This will be thrown at the net from Radko Gudas. And behind the net, Schlapik will send this one back. Here's an opportunity in the middle of the slot. Good stick drag, walk in and shoot for Necas. He missed the net. Freddie Andersen might have got a piece of it with a stick. That was an awfully dangerous move from Martin Necas. Pastrnak, in his half-spin pivot, takes himself off sides. 6:55 left to go in the second.
You can tell Marty Necas is starting to feel it here in these Olympics. He had 3 points against Switzerland in the game on Sunday. He's got 2 points already in this game here today. That is huge for Czechia.
Get back into this play-by-play. 6:40 left to go in the second. Cervenka with the latest. All 4 goals scored in the second period. As this will be flipped back down. Played it off the backhand. Not out. Wilson trying to hold it down. Lars Eller, he gets thefted right at the middle of the slot. Czechia with numbers. Couple of moves. As it was Cervenka lost the puck for a moment. 6:15 left to go in the second. Rush now for Eller. On his backhand, turns to the forehand to the right side and loses an edge. He gets taken down. Try to get held here for Denmark, and now Czechia really starting to find their offense. Cervenka, beautiful pass. Oh, what a stop there off the glove of Freddie Andersen, but it's loose. Now on the backhand, in the puck protect, Pasta can't shake him off the puck. Throws it back to the point. That was in a tight space. The Boston Bruin, Pastrnak. Try to leave it here for their defense and Jan Rutta, who's got a point so far in this period. Cervenka really starting to activate here is spot check. Sedlak, and at the point. Sedlak will spin. He's still with it. One timer up high, and that missed the top of the left of the glass. They're in for the top left crossbar as it goes to Rutta here. 5:20 left to go in the second, and this will be blown dead out of play.
So John, you know, a thought just occurred to me.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, the Detroit Tigers they really were blessed to have an owner like Mike Ehlers.
Yes.
I would like to think that if Mr. I were still with us, number one, the issue of TV coverage for the Tigers wouldn't be as big an issue as it is now.
They would have had their own network if he was still alive.
Yeah, I mean, I know what kind of man he is. Thankfully, there's a YouTuber called the Fat Electrician that made a whole video about Little Caesars.
Yeah.
Calling him the most gangster pizza restaurant in the United States.
I mean, the one thing you could always say about Mike Ilitch, and I know he favored the Red Wings a little bit more than the Tigers, but he loved both of those teams pretty damn equally, and he would spend, and he would always try to just make sure that they were competitive. Even if it always didn't make the most sense, you're bringing in names, you're trying to be impactful and make it exciting, he always did that.
You know, it's funny that happened because he tried to buy the Tigers first.
Yes.
Yeah.
4:45 left to go in the second. I do miss that because his son, I could share some of those stories with Ian, but if that made the public airwaves there, I would probably be blacklisted across sports. And I know some things. 4:39 left.
You know, we could set up a private correspondence on something else.
We would have to do that because I got some dirt that I know specifically from like family and meeting Chris, but I can't say it specifically because I will get in severe trouble.
Okay.
But I do have
By the
dirt.
way, I think someone just got taken out. I think it was
Nick Ehlers. Yeah, it looks like Nick Ehlers is the one that fell hard. Did you happen to see, because I didn't see it live, what took place with... Yeah, he got hit pretty good on the jaw. Nick Ehlers is okay. Did you guys happen to see what happened to Kevin Fiala? I know he
Well,
got
like we should say Tom Wilson, and that would probably
right.
be enough. But I think actually, but on closer inspection, it wasn't really Tom Wilson. He didn't directly injure Fiala's leg.
Right.
And he was just going for a board hit, and I think Fiala just turned the wrong way.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's how I saw it too. It's just unfortunate when you got Tom Wilson as this one goes offside that it gets dragged through that, but it's what happens when you're dealing with that. But Kevin Fiala, I feel bad. He's going to miss the entire year, and we'll see what ends up happening with him because he's such a good player. That's just a shame. And I don't know if you're Gary Bettman, if that makes you, I know what everyone says on social media, if it makes you squeamish about sending players over to the Olympics, but if I'm the commissioner of any sort of sport, I'm not. I want to get everybody on a national stage and get exposure because anyone that remotely loves sports wants to watch these guys compete. As it is David Camp, who has gotten a goal in this game as well. Again, Czechia has really ignited in this second frame. All of the goals have been scored in the second. It's 3-1. It's a Denmark power play with their second. A little bit of a hook there on Ehlers is the one that drew it. Now Denmark's got to get something going offensively. Now my question to Ian, I think we're thinking the same thing here. Once Czechia got that third, is that enough to already win this game? Because the first goal, as we said, was true, and the second was pretty heroic. I think 2 is probably their maximum output. So how are they going to find a third goal? They're trying to find the second one here as Fisker Molgaard back behind. Go ahead.
Well, that is, first of all, they waste this power play. It gets exponentially harder.
Yeah.
So there's the obvious one there. You're just going to have to hope. You're going to have Ehlers turn it on. Because truth be told, I don't know the entire Denmark. I don't know the entire Denmark roster.
Yeah, there's only 4 NHLers here, and Eller, that is Olesen between his legs. The Matthew Tkachuk goal. Are you kidding me? Denmark scored 2 sensational ones on the power play, and they don't waste it. Wait till you check out that replay. That's hot sauce. You're kidding. That's gross. I don't recognize this team. Here's Molgaard. Olsen, that's a roofer in between the legs past Dostal. Are you kidding me?
I think, if Denmark is going to win this, actually, you know what this is, John? This is the Looney Tunes this is
oh
the
my
Toon
God.
Squad versus the Monster.
I'm glad, man. I'm covering this game now because the first period I was a little bit nervous. Now, who knows? Power play opened the door enough. When the shot board's 26-13, it feels like Czechia is dominating from the second, but it's only a 1-goal game. That was absolutely filthy. Both goals that were scored have no chance for Lukas Dostal, and now it's a 3-2 game. I can't believe it's changed so quickly.
Yeah, instead of straight up hockey, they're just gonna have to do Looney Tunes style things to score.
I do feel bad for Dostal a little bit because he hasn't played poorly at all. He can't save either one of those.
It wouldn't surprise me if we see an Acme Dynamite kid.
Here's a break for Denmark. All this goes off the post, and it's still 3-2. Denmark was wide open up the gut, could have tied it at 3, and all of a sudden this game, we talk about Looney Tunes, this second period, 5 goals could have been 6. Denmark now trying to play some defense. David Camp blocks it. Yes, it goes off the post. And my God, this will go the other way now for Czechia. This game has been outrageous now. All of a sudden, you went from pretty sleepy to pretty darn explosive here. It's been fun in this second frame. 1:15 left to go in it. As this goes back down, and it'll be iced against the Czechs. Hopefully, we get a chance to watch that one more time. So wide open break for Bjorkstrand, and he hit the right bar. Dostal's in a full sprawl, and maybe with the left pad, Ian just cancels it off, cuts the angle away for Oliver Bjorkstrand to make sure it wasn't a 3-3 game. 1 minute left to go in the second period as Denmark will take some changes. This game has completely changed from the first that was scoreless. We scored 5 times in the second period, and it kind of reminds me of the work that I do in the MIHL with the Waterford Sharks. You know, in those type of leagues, you see goal explosions all the time because you have teams that aren't necessarily in the same competitive level. But hell, I mean, I could make that same regard in between Czechia and Denmark, correct? And Denmark looks to be game for this right now. As a sauce pass will flip ends for Ehlers. Back in behind the net now. Ehlers quickly throws it back to the point. Got to get a shot on. 20 seconds as it's Bjorkstrand will chase it now. Now to the right side bumper off the backhand. And Czechia might have a break if not for a diving play that knocks it away. Sedlak gets taken down, and that's going to be an offside. It's not a penalty. I was waiting for the call, but diving play negates a Czechia possible breakaway at 7 seconds left to go in the middle frame. Diving play to knock it away from Fleck, number 19 at Czechia. He would have been gone, absolutely, a stride and a half, and got enough of the puck, I guess. So 2 seconds left to go. This one gets dumped into Freddie Andersen, but after 40, it was scoreless after 20. We scored 5 goals in the next frame. Czechia does lead, but it is only 3-2. I guess I can say it distinctly now. Come back. Third period is going to be exciting. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So we got the 3 goals already typed for Czechia. I'm just going to make sure I get this one here for Denmark. We'll give you the reset, and then we'll go into the intermission.
So, after the Olympics have concluded,
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, here's hoping that no one else gets injured for any teams.
Yes.
What do you think it's going to look like the second half? Well, we know it's going to be basically a sprint the rest of the way, just trying to keep position for the teams in postseason contention. But who do you think is going to come through in the end?
If I look at that, Ian, here's the question that we can have for one of the ones, because I think that's a good question you bring up. The Florida Panthers, again, you're still waiting for Barkov to come back probably toward the postseason. Should they even get there? Yes, they got Kachuk now. They're 29, 25, and 3, 61 points. They're in the East, in the Atlantic. In the Atlantic Division, they are 11 points out from a 3rd seed, and they're 9 points out from a playoff spot. 9 for the Florida Panthers. Bobrovsky has not played all that well, and with all the injuries that they've had, it's really forced Brad Marchand to be one of their guys that actually scores. I don't know, honestly, at this point, if the Florida Panthers make it, even in the mad dash.
Yeah, I think they're going to miss, which I would not have predicted at the beginning.
No.
I mean, I knew they had some weaknesses, but and honestly, I shouldn't be surprised that this team is doing so well. But I predicted at the beginning, before the season began, that the Oilers would miss the playoffs. I was wrong, and I was very wrong about that. But I just, looking at their roster at the beginning, with Trent Frederick getting the money that he got,
Yeah.
and the fact that their goalie situation was horrendous.
Their goalie situation is worse now that Stuart Skinner is gone.
But wait, what? I thought Jari was an improvement.
He's supposed to be an improvement, but he hasn't been an improvement. The team's played a little bit better because they've scored more. But I don't know if you saw those quotes from Leon Draisaitl before we went back to the break. He essentially said we don't play well in any facet of the game, and it's up to Stan Bowman and company to fix this team and get them right back on track. He called out management and he called out his own team, did Leon.
So, in short, we got. So basically, the Oilers are winning despite themselves.
They're winning despite themselves, and they're winning because they play in the Pacific Division.
Yeah, which is not.
No.
Which, as we've seen, is not strong at all.
No, not by any stretch of the imagination. I do give the Anaheim Ducks credit to be able to fight their way back up off the map, but you have the Seattle Kraken. No disrespect to Cooper Hopkins, because I think he would say the same thing to me. A few months ago, before we got in the calendar turn, the Seattle Kraken were sitting at dead last in the NHL. They're 27-20-9. They're a team that only has 162 goals for. They cannot score. And the Edmonton Oilers only have one more point than them. And Seattle's got 2 games in hand. So they're not doing much. And look at it for Vegas. Yes, you have 68 points. They're 27-16-14. They have 30 losses to 27 wins, but because you're in Gary Bettman's era of OT lost points, you're in somewhat contention. And then you have the LA Kings, even worse. They're 23-19-14. They have 33 losses to 23 wins, and yet they are only 3 points out of a playoff spot. So yes, the Pacific Division is dog water.
Oh my goodness. What the? John.
Yeah.
Nashville is 26-24-7, and they are 4 points.
Yeah, Nashville's been hot.
Wild card spot.
Yeah, Nashville's been hot lately to get themselves back in. They were completely buried, as we talked about. Hell, they got 26 regulation wins. Like I said, the Kings only have 23. So
I just this season, number one, the NFL and NHL season have not made sense.
no.
But the NHL season might be even crazier because the only team that has any, well, I was going to say the only dominant team, but considering now I'm looking at the Minnesota Wild who currently are trying to creep back up on the Colorado Avalanche, despite Colorado only having nine losses,
Right.
and 9 OT losses, but still 37 wins, and you're only 5 points ahead of the next team in your division.
Yeah, tell me how that makes sense. You can't.
It doesn't. I mean, it makes for an interesting product. I can't, I gotta say, I don't necessarily hate it. It's not a thing of hate. It's just a matter of what am I looking at right now?
I have something that I do want to ask you. I just have to make sure I type in a couple more things. I'm sure on the outstretching, and I'm not saying this to be mean because I would say the same thing for me. I don't get a chance to pay attention to everything all the time. But if you look at the Dallas Stars record right now, and you say, yeah, that's a pretty decent record as they sit in the 3rd seed. They're 34-14-9. My point is, if you look at the Dallas Stars, look at specifically, while we have time, what they've done throughout the month of December. I think it was November and December, or December into January, where they were absolutely on fire. And I think it was November into December where they had 1 month where they essentially had all their wins. They got all their points. They banked everything else. And then after that, the Dallas Stars have been playing pretty middling, maybe below 500 slightly. They look very top heavy. This is a team, again, that I picked, which is not going to happen because the wild card is just such a mess and the Pacific's so bad. They've got so many points they're not going to miss. I did pick them to miss, but I think they got some problems, honestly, in Dallas.
So, from their 4th game in November to, let me see. Well, actually, so yeah, you're right. So from the beginning of November to about to December 21st, you're right. They were on an absolute tear. They got all their points in that sense, but you lose to Detroit, lose to Chicago, lose to Buffalo. Let's look at January. Loss. Win against Washington, lose to San Jose, win against LA, lose. Win 6-2 against Boston, lose, win. And then we get to February. Win. So,
a little bit lately, yeah.
Despite all the winning that they had done, that stretch in December, that stretch after December 21st was erratic and inconsistent.
That was what I was looking at. And I saw that courtesy. I'm glad we talked about it again. But the hockey guy, I watched that one on YouTube. If you make sure you follow Shannon, he does a great job on the whiteboards. But he was kind of talking about that, and he'd be saying little inconsistencies in their offense here and there. Again, I'm not saying the Dallas Stars aren't good. I definitely think that they can definitely be a tough playoff out. But I think there's a lot of pressure on those teams in the Central. Minnesota, Dallas, Colorado to showcase what they can be. I mean, maybe again you say Colorado has the most pressure because they've been pacing everything in the league. You talk about the 9-9 for the regulation and OT losses. At some point, they got to win a Game 7, correct? I mean, it's been about 20 years. I don't think for the Colorado Avalanche for that. So just don't get to Game 7. Maybe you find a way to get it done. And then the other thing for me, and I don't know how the hell they're doing it, and John Cooper probably isn't going to get Coach of the Year because the Lightning are always good anyway. But with all the injuries that the Lightning have had, they sit tied on top of the Eastern Conference's best record at 37-14-4. But you take a look at the list for the injuries for the Tampa Bay Lightning, they've been nothing but a mash unit, and yet somehow still getting the job done. And the Winter Classic, I don't know if you said, not Winter Classic, whatever the outdoor game was between Boston and Tampa. Boston had a 4-goal lead. Tampa comes all the way back, scores 5 goals, and you got John Cooper in that gangster outfit. So that's kind of the way that the Tampa Bay Lightning have been able to approach their season. We could get a repeat of the 2022 Stanley Cup finals in between the Bolts and the Avalanche, which I wouldn't mind. I just don't know how the Lightning continue to do it with all the injuries they've had.
Yeah. Or we could have a repeat of 2019 in which the Columbus Blue Jackets would go into the playoffs with a little bit of momentum.
Yeah.
And they sweep the Lightning.
I would love to see them get in. That was at the time I was working at the paper, and I actually won a poll because I said, who's going to pick some rounds? I said the Columbus Blue Jackets are beating the Lightning, and that was one of the ones I got right. The only other one I got right, which I wish I would have bet on actually in Vegas, was the Vegas Golden Knights making the playoffs in their first year. I did not pick them getting the Stanley Cup Finals, but I thought that they would make it. So those are the two best bets I've had. I'm not really a betting man, but when I do bet, it's like the DeSecchi's guy. Probably do pretty good.
Yeah, well, another one I wish I would have bet on. Well, not wish I would have because I don't bet but me and Alec, we covered the Boston the Bruins Panthers series. You know, that Boston team,
Yes.
the
The
best
best
one
record.
in regular season history. We covered that series, and we covered Game 7. And by the end of it, well, you know what happened. Verhaeghe scores. We're laughing hysterically.
Yeah.
You know, because it was what it was. The entire, and from there, I said it. I made the claim. Boston, it is official. 28-3 is forgotten. You are now the biggest fumble in sport, the biggest choker in sports history. The Boston Bruins.
Yeah, that was a awfully rough one because you guys were on the call when I was starting one with Cooper while that one was going in OT. So our whole core group was covering games that day, and we couldn't believe it when we saw that off the replay side. And that was a gigantic collapse. It is almost amazing to think that the Boston Bruins now are 21-8-1 at TD Garden this year, and they have 69 points. I did not expect them to already be as competitive again as they are. They made some pretty decent offseason moves, and then
they somehow, the Boys Club of Boston, they somehow managed to do just enough to get out of their own damn way.
Yes, you're right.
And it's infuriating because you're waiting for the other shoe to drop, and that Boston is like Vancouver and the LA Kings for a little bit. And, I mean, John, let's be real. You're waiting for Boston to turn into Detroit. And I'm talking about the end of Ken Holland Detroit.
Yeah, they don't die. It's another one of those ones like the snake or the cockroaches you talked about, where they keep finding a way to get back. I'll be completely honest with you guys. I'm really glad for the Olympic break because the Red Wings, when they had the injury to Simon Edmondson, had lost like 4 of the last 5. And I just didn't want to see it look like February and March again. But now when we come back, we're essentially going to go right into March and then into a trade deadline. So I think the break for Detroit came right at the right time. And my question now to all Wings fans, and I know that we're all thinking it, and Ian and Alec and Cooper would be thinking of me because I think of your guys' teams all the time as well. I mean, I love everybody in the Century. I'm not trying to sit like semi-pro either. I mean it. I mean, you guys are. It's great to work with all of you, and I want to see all of our teams do well. But is Steve Yzerman going to add something of significance at the deadline? Because the one thing I do want to see for Detroit, and I know Simon Edmondson's going to come back at the break. That will help them a lot. And you're not going to have to play Travis Hamonic. But at least for me, I think defenseman's got to be something that you go after.
What kind of defenseman are we talking about? Are we talking about straight defensive defenseman or offensive defenseman?
We're talking about now that the Quinn Hughes dream is over, and you were on the call with me for several of the ones this year, even the one against Calgary when Detroit had a 4-0 lead and almost lost because they got routed by goals. I need a defensive defenseman lockdown.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Blues don't have that. Surprisingly, I think Justin Falk is still in the top 4 team goal totals for us, which is surprising, but he doesn't play defense.
Oh, boy. Yeah, so we'll have to see what's available because essentially it's going to be a nice look after this is all done to where you have the next week and it's going to be the trade deadline once you come back in from the NHL. So it's going to be a mad dash not only for everything else, as Ian said, to finish the season, but then you're also going to have to make your moves. And then the one thing before we get back into play-by-play that I guess I am thankful for was that the Red Wings are on the highest side of games played at 58. Yes, they sit at the 3rd seed, but 72 points is pretty good, 33, 19, and 6. So at least they're not going to have to cram in as many games to get to 82. Everyone else will have to. But you think about Tampa, they've only played 55 games. You're going to have a lot of 3 games in 4 nights by the time you get back to go ahead and play those games. Thankfully, the Red Wings hopefully won't have as many of those. They are the only team right now that I'm looking at, besides the Seattle Kraken, that have a negative goal differential, 174 and 175, despite their record at 33, 19, and 6. So they need to get people that can keep the puck out of the net. And the one last thing I'll say here is John Gibson, despite having a rough October and November, he has been astronomically good, way better than I expected. But they need some other goaltender besides him, because Cam Talbot, at his point, sitting at 36 and 37, is too old to continue to go ahead and get consistent time. So they're going to need somebody that can help spell Gibson, because he's going to need a rest at some point. So 1 minute left to go or 1 minute expired in the 3rd, as this one is sent back around. Freddie Andersen now will make the save as I jump all over myself. The Red Wings get me flustered, as this will go up and out of play. If you're just joining us, after the first set of 20, it was scoreless. After 40, it's 3-2 Czechia over Denmark. And Denmark's couple of goals have been all world. Ian and I had made that mark about Looney Tunes type of goals, but that's the kind of extra effort it feels like. It feels like you're playing a game of NHL hits, and the way they're able to kind of get on fire, get some of these hits, kind of go between your legs, put a little okey doke there. But Denmark has fooled Dostal a couple times, and don't blame him. He kind of had to do that in order to score against him, because you got Vejmelka and Vladar also in net. Here is Czechia, cross pass. This one missed the left side of the post. Freddie Andersen is down. He'll pop back to his feet. Czechia was a hair's breadth from making it 4-2. Necas has got this puck up high. He shoots, rips, and misses it off of Freddie Andersen's glove. This will be Necas off the long pass. Šimek tried to walk in now. Won't get sticked away. Back in at the point. Good start to the period here for Czechia. And off the half spin for Necas. This is kept in now. Šimek working behind the net. Here's a bank pass that bounces off of Sedlak. And now Lars Eller will try to do some defensive work here for Czechia, as this will be kept in across mid-ice. And now Denmark will go ahead and take their changes, the same for Czechia, so they've got it in their own end right now. 5 goals scored in that second frame. Then we'll see who gets the next. We'll see if Denmark ties it or if Czechia takes a 2-goal lead. Sit 3-2 now, watching this one on Peacock. John here with you alongside Ian Genge. Happy to be joined here for this playoff qualification. Starting to feel a little bit more awake now, as you've got noon side of the Eastern Standard Time. And this one will go just fine. Flip back down. Now, admittedly, I'm not going to be able to tell you my start time for tomorrow, because you got to wait for all of the games to finish first. But it will be 10:40 at the latest, because otherwise we're going into an 8:10 morning start. Chance Snow Angel and Freddie Andersen stops it from going underneath them, and we still sit at 3-2. So it could be 8:10 tomorrow, but I really don't want to try to get up that early, only because they got family plans. So if we get a 10:40 game again tomorrow, that looks good enough. I'll jump in on the cast to be able to get a full thing done. And then Friday will be 10:40 or 3:10. And then Sunday is guaranteed gold medal game at 8:10 Eastern. This is a kick save and a beauty here for Freddie Andersen. As we got that replay, Pastrnak couldn't elevate, and Freddie Andersen holds it at the line. Be a save here, Sedlak off the tie-up. And this will belong now to Denmark. And off the back skate, we'll send it in as checking. Now going to start against Cervenka. He's got the latest goal. It was a ripper of a wrist shot off the rush. And now Denmark forces steal. It's a 1-on-4. Denmark needs reinforcements. Going to have to throw it in the corner here. This is picked up off the back pass. Might be a good time to pull up these rosters nonetheless, as Radko Gudas turns it over. Denmark will shovel a backhand toward the net. This works behind the net of Lukas Dostal, and Denmark now trying to keep it toward the right bumper, because it's too far for Jensen. Flip back down. Sedlak will throw it wide, And this will go up and on a play at 16:19 of the third.
Freddie Andersen, you knew he was going to have to be the star of the show for Denmark if they were going to win that game. They came up with a clutch save here to 1-0. Yeah, you can see he's just trying to get back into his net. But he gets his right leg caught behind him. What a desperation save. Freddie Andersen, pretty good save. Body is pretty square to the puck. This is what you can do. You can make those desperation saves. You got lucky there. But yeah, that last one covered. Just offside and do what.
Hertl's chance from an angle misses as it's 16:10 left to go in the third. Try to play a back pass near the right point. Hertl will chase. Denmark's got it. Take a long flip. Does not get out of the zone. Czechia got it. Middle of the slot ripper. This one goes off of Hertl. Hits the stick shaft and goes up and on a play. Shot board is 29-14. We didn't give a chance to give you the reset in the second frame. We talk about a ton of goals that were scored. Necas scored on a rocket. Hronek was the one that set it up. Alexander True leads off the rush, and a great pass from Blitchfield tied it up. It was a puck that from David Camp goes off Lars Eller. Vejmelka scores it off the rush, and then Olesen between his legs from Molgaard and Blitchfield in tight. So shots on goal after one were 8-6 Czechia. Shots on goal after two were 26-14. Czechia outshot Denmark 18-8. Face-offs were 20 apiece. They were, in the first, 12-5 Denmark. Czechia won that 15-5 in the circle in the second frame. So they completely dominated that second period, but yet Denmark still scored twice, and that's why we sit at a 3-2 scoreline. So it is still anyone's game here, despite the shot board being heavily favored one way as Legason gets there. It'll be a Denmark ozone drop coming at 15:43. Milano Cortina joining here with you alongside Ian Genge. This is playoff qualification rounds. What that means is this is the last chance for anyone to make it to the quarterfinals tomorrow. Winner of this Group A game plays Canada, and they're going to have to do so on a back-to-back. That's what Canada is going to get as a Group A winner. They'll get their rest. Whoever loses goes home today. We'll get you the score resets in a moment as well for the other teams. As Russell turnaround chance, that one goes wide of Lukas Dostal. Denmark tried to keep this in as this is flipped back in behind the inwards. Good hit. And on the right side, Cervenka able to finish that one off. And this will go back to Denmark here. This one closer. We'll get this one across. And I kind of tongue-tied myself. I can't do that like how Alec Nava does. We picked up now for Ehlers off the long shot. And this one will be recollected by Ehlers, throwing it across the point. Ehlers now trying to chase near the left side of the bumper. He got to bounce off his stick blade. He was a jump up into the air to get glove down and keep possession here for Denmark. Oliver Bjorkstrand sent it back in behind the inboards here. Jensen tried to find it with Bjorkstrand. Denmark still has it, and then the high slot wrister will miss. It hits the glass. It's loose out near the left side red line, but Czechia able to provide some defensive support. You got all the goals that you needed here. You probably need one more if you're Czechia. Denmark has proven to be opportunistic, if nothing else. But this next goal is definitely going to be the biggest. Czechia one more time iced it against themselves at 14-27. Lars Eller can't win it as this goes back to Czechia. I'm going to apologize. I wouldn't normally even eat anything right now during a play-by-play call, but try to get a little bit of energy here for David Spacek. This is when they settle down across the center ice, so probably the only time you hear me do that. Mr. Cervenka. We'll flip this one down and up and on the play, so that'll give me enough time as we're getting another whistle.
Yeah, tough throw for whoever wins the game. But each one of these teams, when they started this game in the locker room, They talk about belief and believing they can get it done. This is not a 7-game NHL-style playoff series. It's one game at a time. You need good goaltending. You need everyone on board. And you never know what can happen in a single-game elimination.
Ehlers will win this one against Sedlak. Denmark's got possession again, but they gets turned over to Cervenka quickly. Pastrnak surveys near the left side dot, keeping alive on his forehand. Here's a back pass as Radko Gudas will fire it on. The glove save for Freddie Andersen. He's been pretty decent, all things considered, but Denmark needs just a little bit more offense. We will take a break. Again, we are about maybe 6 minutes or so expired from the third. It's still a 3-2 lead for Czechia over Denmark.
So to answer your question, obviously the best bet for a defenseman would have been Buffalo, but that's out of the question now. They're not. I doubt Buffalo's going to buy or sell. I think they're just going with who they have.
I agree.
As for God, is there anybody on the Rangers that could be serviceable with how bad they are?
That's what I'm wondering. You would have to think that would be an obvious way to go. I mean, considering what the LA Kings did do I have to credit? I feel like I do. At least Ken Holland a little bit to be able to get somebody like Artemi Panarin on the Kings. I mean, he didn't have to spend a whole hell of a lot.
No, and I mean, look, despite the Kings being where they are, we left Ken Holland, Alec and I, we left Ken Holland out of the building when we saw the Cody Ceci contract.
Right.
But apparently he's not the worst defenseman in the
No, that defensive system that they have in LA is decent. They just don't have goal scoring, and that's why you brought in somebody like the Breadman.
Yeah. So as for what Detroit could do about defense, honestly, if you really wanted someone, you'd have to pony up, and I just don't think Eiserman's willing to do that.
Yeah, if you're gonna ask me to pony up, you're asking me to then maybe, and I know it's frustrating as a Wings fan, but I'm gonna be honest here. You're asking me to pony up for a maybe, and I don't think a maybe is good enough. I really only see the Red Wings as a team that would win a round. I don't think they'd win more than that. I hope that the feed or myself is not jumping all that much, but it's starting to jump the feed at least. Hopefully that corrects itself on Peacock, or if not, I'll reload it. As Lars Eller will try to get this D-zone draw against Sedlak. Jansen coughs it up, and they got to play some defense right in front of the crease here. Sedlak trying to shoot it, as this will get knocked away for Fisker Molgaard. One-timer goes up, 13:25 left to go in the third, as this will be recollect now. Pastrnak across the bumper to the left side wall. You had Filip Hronek out there as well, as this will be settled back toward the right side boards. 13:10 left to go in the second. The shot gets blocked up in the air, and now Denmark try to go ahead and find it with 13 minutes left to go in the third. It's still a 3-2 score line. All 5 goals have been scored in the second frame, as it's 12:55 left to go in the third. Players will take their changes near the bench as we got an interesting camera shot following the contact, and Lukas Dostal will flip this one back and behind the inboards. While Ian's on here and we get another stoppage, I'm going to ask him. I'll probably give him the link as well for the time slot, just in case he saw the fight that I had, and alongside with the Sharks and Voyagers in the game I had to cover this weekend. That was a good one. 12:25 left to go in the third, but I got to give him that timestamp in a second, as Molgaard lost the puck. 12:15 left to go in the third, and this one's still jumping, but I don't want to back away here until the play stops. 12:05 is the time left on the clock. 3-2 is your score line. Czechia still leads. Is in off the spin and turn now. Ehlers with the puck. He's kept it off the outside of the net now, trying to make a centering feed, but Czechia is there to intercept. Radko Gudas now try to join the rush with Marty Necas. You don't say that very often. As Necas a couple of spins, and this net will get dislodged at 11:47. So I am going to send this timestamp to you, Ian. I think I have enough time to be able to do this.
Radko Gudas has his own fan club. I gotta get my hands on one of those. Then Radko Gudas driving through the center, which a lot of defensemen, if they're going to join the runs, they're going to do. It looks like he was pushed in. Ran into Freddie Andersen. So that play earlier gets it on Pastrnak. That was not penalized. Not penalized. Not the strongest of calls. Looks like Radko Gudas was pushed in there. Didn't realize Freddie Andersen was behind him. But a big moment here for.
Let me do this for a second. I will get back into play-by-play. I want to send this to Ian just in case he hasn't seen it.
Denmark 1 for 2 on the power play. Gudas in the box for goalie interference. And Denmark on the man advantage. A chance to even the score here in the third period as an appointed puck run up on Dostal. Cleared by Genge. It's the second unit to start the power play here for Denmark. That's the one that produced the goal the last time around. Lindfeld, Olsen, and Oscar Fisker Molgaard, but a guy like Nikolaj Eller starts his power play on the bench. They had their 2 power play goals in this tournament. Olsen's been great all tournament. Now earning a little more trust from the coaching staff to get the first goal at the power play.
Okay, I just want to make sure I sent that across to you. Should be good to go here if I can back out of this. There we go.
Yep, I see it.
I wanted to make sure that you saw that. Let me reload this feed very fast. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. It's just bouncing too much. I'm hoping this reloading this will be enough because the only way I can watch this right now is on Peacock. I don't think anything's jumping here for YouTube or the space. It's just the feed. So 49 seconds on a Denmark power play, 10:30 left to go in the third, as this will be not kept in now for Denmark. A little pool ball clear about halfway through this third period. And again, we're waiting for the next goal. Again, Czechia has got everything they needed from the second. They lead 30-16 on the shot board, but Denmark, their second power play, their last one that they scored on, as this will be Schimmick. Try to get this one off the glass. Denmark bounces away from Eller, and this will allow David Kemp be able to kill some time. Kemp drives this one in deep at least. 10 seconds left to go in Denmark's power play, as this will be flipped back down, now down to 5 on the man advantage. Bjorkstrand sends this one-timer, be snagged by Denmark, and it'll be 1 second left to go on the power play. So I got to be mindful there of any sort of outstretched pass that is available to Czechia. If the face-off is won, you can kind of cheat for offense there. Yeah, we're going to go to break. So either way in the third period, once you see a little bit of that scruffle, I think I have the timestamp right. That was from the YouTube link, so it might be a little bit off from the Go Live one. But once you see the scruffle near the left side blue line, then you get a full-scale goalie fight. That is what I wanted to make sure you saw.
Oh.
So I had some fun with that. It reminded me of the first game I ever went to. I was in 5th grade, and it was Jolos Arena, and my first game was the one after Chris Draper got hit by Claude Lemieux. That was April 1st, April Fool's Day, 1998, when it was Chris Osgood and Patrick Waugh meeting up at center ice. That goalie fight was pretty good. I think Jacob Gillum of the Sharks It's the second fight that he's done. The first one I've been able to see because the other one was on the road. I thought he served himself quite well. I got a lot of nice comments on that call too, so I was very appreciative of Sharks in the MIHL.
Yeah. Oh, it's always great when you see the goalie. When you see the goalie stuff. How did that even get communicated though? Does one goalie just start skating toward the other?
That's what happened. Yes, I think the unwritten rule in the NHL, and you already know this, but once I saw the Muskegon netminder start to leave his crease with the anticipation to protect his teammates, well, I was like, well, once the goalie leaves their crease, the other one could as well, and that's his responsibility should they wish to take it, and they decided to do so.
That's great.
9:30 left to go in the third. As this will be recollected across the right side red line. Good hit, Blitchfield. Try to pry it loose, and Pastrnak will play some defense in his own end. It's a one-on-one. Here's a slow and stop right at the goal crease, and Denmark able to at least avert the danger. We're getting dangerously close here. We're past the halfway marker of the third. It's still 3-2. Again, no goals in the first, no goals in the third. It's been an avalanche in that second. We're all 5. Here is Cervenka. Cervenka off the drop for Pasta. Right to Cervenka. One more touch. And this will be held by Andersen. The pass goes off his right skate. That would have been a pretty good combination play that Andersen would have had a tough time with. But he was able to find that pass, block it off, and stop a goal from being scored. He's looking for a backdoor tap-in for Tomas Hertl, but it didn't get there because there was a good stick blade. Again, there's 3 Jensens, so I'm just going to guess Jensen 48, and that's who it was. 8:52 left to go in the third. Really don't have to look at the story sheet there for anything. You just say Jensen on DN, you're probably going to be right if you're Denmark because there's 3 of them. So Cervenka on the right side boards. This will get knocked away. Have to start again for Czechia. Little bank pass toward the left side blue line. 8:35 left to go in the third. Must be bounced in off the glass and flip back down the ice. It'll be enough to get blown dead against Denmark. They can't change, say, a delayed penalty call on the NBC Peacock side, and we'll see what we get. Don't know if there was a hook that I just missed from the camera shot, but I think that's probably what we have. 8:29 in the third. Live Sports going to tell me that nonetheless. It's elbowing call at 8:29. Let's see what's on. Looks like Tomas Hertl going to go to the box. And let's see again. Was that a little too much on the camera shot? Yeah, you got a piece of number 12 of Denmark, but another power play for them. It's their second one. Oscar Fischer Molgaard was the one that got elbowed by Hertl. It's a massive opportunity for Denmark. Their second power play in the third period. I think it might be their third or their fourth at this point. We'll give you the official in a moment. Touch pass, one-timer, and tight. Goes up and out of play. It was a good design near the left dot, but it got sticked away. So, yeah, 3 penalties. Third power play opportunity for Denmark in this game. Second one of the third period, and also a second one against Tomas Hertl. You don't want to be the GOAT in the wrong portion of the category here. You've got to kill this off if you're Czechia. David Kampf used to killing a lot of penalties. He did a lot of that in Toronto. Now trying to do that in Vancouver, but Vancouver is just a place of pain at this point. It's usually been that way for Vancouver fans. Sorry about that. As this will be ripped back in behind the inboards. Picked by Bjorkstrand. As this will be recollected across the left side of the glass. Now left side red line. Denmark needs to find one opportunity to at least get some shots on net before they can look for the perfect play. Still got 7:55 left in the third. Lots of traffic. Ehlers shoots. And Dostal fights it off. This is just kept in. Left side blue line. Bjorkstrand fires. This one's tipped. And that one just wide. There's another chance at the net. Dostal down. It is loose. And Czechia funnels it out of the slot. 1:05 left to go in Denmark's third power play, the second of the period. Jensen will take this one up the ice in front of Jan Rutta and throw back. Denmark finds the entry toward the left side of the glass and loop it back in behind the net now. 7:15 left to go in the third. Denmark just holds it in. Sent back around. Bjorkstrand slows it down. Left side dot, far boards and not kept in. Denmark's next power play down to 35 seconds. Bjorkstrand, and on the bumper. He's trying to get it on the in around for Fischer Molgaard. Sedlak providing some defensive reinforcement for Czechia. And Ondrej Palat will get this one out. Now remember the New York Islanders. 15 seconds left to go in the power play. Now there'll be some shorthanded time as Sedlak will get there first. They'll be able to kill some time at least. And by the time Denmark gets in the offensive zone, their power play is going to expire. Down to 4. Fischer Molgaard gets this one for Blitchfield, who's got a couple assists in this game. Back in from the point, gets cut off. Blitchfield try to chase for it, and Tomas Hertl comes out of the box. 6:15 left to go in the third from Milano Cortina. John Under with you alongside Ian Genge. 3-2 still your score line. Denmark needs one more. Shot in from 100 will force they'll stall to have to hold. We'll get an ozone draw for Denmark. One of those ones, I believe it was USA playing Denmark in my assignment before I just showed it to Ian Genge. It was Jeremy Swayman getting beat from 160 feet and off of a clear-in. But the USA did win that game 6-3. They came out like a bat out of hell in that third period.
I watched that game. That was that goal. That goal was incredible. But once that actually was the second period where everything, I think it was the second period.
You're probably right because I didn't get a chance to see it. Yes.
Yeah, the second period, the team just found form and started scoring like mad.
Have you followed much or all of Team USA so far in the Olympics, for the men at least?
Like overall medal count?
Yeah, no, I mean, like just the games themselves. What have you seen from Team USA?
Oh, well, for starters, their passing is excellent. All the American players, first of all, they're all elite in their own way, and it shows because there's very little. It's not clunky. The passes are smooth. You can tell that it's a different animal because of the caliber. Because all these guys are the top of the class in the NHL, and if they're not the top of the class, they are as close to it as you can get.
Stupid question, Ian, but again, I'm made of those sometimes. Do you think that the United States will get to Sunday?
I think so. I truly believe they would need to have a collapse. And the thing is, as much as I dunk on Connor Hellebuyck for his performance in the NHL postseason,
Mm-hmm.
he has been consistent. He's been good enough for them to win. And I don't know who their second goalie is, but I don't remember.
It's still got Jake Ottinger and Jeremy Swayman.
Swayman, actually. Swayman played well, too. I haven't seen Ott, to be honest.
Okay.
Alec and I, we covered the Germany game when we switched, but after it was 5-0, we switched over to the end of the Daytona 500, which did not disappoint.
That's what I heard. So I'll be hopeful in your assessment, Ian, because again, I'll probably have to watch some of those replays If the United States gets close enough into the semis at least, obviously that's where we're going to lean. And then we'll see between that and Canada. Because, again, I covered Canada once in the game against Czechia, and that was just – I mean, Nathan McKinnon, Connor McDavid, and Sidney Crosby on the first line. Come on now. I don't know what to say to that. As Tomas Hertl, this will be off the stick tie-up. They're so damn good across the board. Forwards and defense, for as good as the United States is, nobody's going to match up with Canada. And I am a little bit worried as far as you saw what Jordan Binnington did in the Four Nations. This is essentially the same team. If you're telling me it's going to be Jordan Binnington versus Connor Hellebuck, I agree with you on every assessment that you make about Hellebuck. But I still think you and I would even lead Binnington.
I would definitely choose Binnington. I would choose Binnington
He's a gamer.
Over Hellebuck.
Yeah.
He is. And as for the game you covered with Canada, all I can say is was that what they faced Czechia?
Yes.
All I can say, gentlemen, seriously, you just deserve credit for getting on the ice with that. Seriously.
I mean, 5-0 was day 2. It was their first game of Group A. And it looks like that might be their matchup here, unless Denmark makes something happen in the final 5 minutes. If nothing else, Ian, second period was this game has been very enjoyable with you anyway because I've been able to talk to you. But the second period was pretty damn fun. Now we've got to see what happens here in this final 4:30 here. But Czechia has been able to kind of lock this down from this first where nothing happened. And the third, they're not giving Denmark much of anything, which is good to see. It was just very chaotic in that second frame. But again, as we talked about, this will be the repeat performance from day 2. We're going to have to play Canada again. And what's going to change? You don't think you could play worse than 5-0, but it is Canada, though. So if they blitz early, you still have Karel Vejmelka and Dan Vladar. That's the only thing. Czechia's got some very good goaltending. That's the one thing that they do have. They're just going to need to find some offense. Dostal. Now for Snemich, we'll send this one to David Kemp, and we'll see how this gets measured. You got about 1:40 here before the netminder is going to need to leave the crease, and Freddie Andersen, as this one will get fought at the net by Dostal from Lars Eller. He will at least have an ozone draw. It is an ozone draw, as I said, at 3:37, but that's probably still too soon for Freddie Andersen to leave the goal crease. One more of these to tell you about before I close this game out, depending on what happens. Let me just pull back as far as your initial scores. 3:25 left to go in the third. How many times I got to hit back here? There we go. So it is 3-0 Switzerland. They advance over Italy. 5-1 Germany over France. Again, Sweden-Latvia will take place at 3:10 Eastern. Sweden has been one of those teams that can fire a lot of shots on goal. Lucas Raymond, again, the Red Wing in there as well. A lot of good players, but Sweden's one of those ones. I don't know if they make it. I would still probably take Finland over them from a Group B. But we'll see. That probably is who they'd have to play next. Stolen by Pastrnak, and now opportunity for Denmark. Got to go quickly here. They're running out of time. 2:40 left to go in the third. As this will be flipped back around too far for Legason. And the Denmark defense will have to start again from the length of the ice. They are in the white jerseys with the red tops, and they're down by a goal. 2:25 left to go in the third. Runner with you alongside Ian Genge. Shot fought off by Dostal at the crease. He fell down, made the save with his glove, and now Jensen will get it out. Back into the neutral zone, racing across the left side wing, gain the entry, long shot. This one will hit the glass, miss high, and go back down to Denmark. 2 minutes left. Freddie Andersen still in the crease. Denmark needs one more. They're going home. Another long wrister hits the stick shaft of Dostal. This is Bjorkstrand for a moment. Pass out in front, goes in behind the net. Big cross check, not called. as Molgaard tried to find it. Empty net now. Freddie Andersen has vacated. 1:35 left to go in the third. It's still 3-2. All the goals from the second frame. Here's a chance now. Molgaard sends it across. Gets blocked. Czechia. Diving play. Vejmelka finds it. Plays it off the bumper. Loses the puck. And now Denmark starts it again through center ice. They'll back up. They got the extra attacker, but they're down to 70 seconds left to go in this game. 1:10 left. Pass up the gut. This deflected now. Czechia will watch this one get brimmed around for Novotny. Here's a touch pass. Denmark desperate to keep it in. They'll steal across center ice. Russell takes it. Long shot hits the glass. Now the left side bumper. Back in behind the inboards. Oliver Bjorkstrand in behind the net. 45 seconds left to go in Denmark's Olympic season. Here's a long shot. Ehlers deflected. That's wide of the left post. Down to 35 seconds here. Czechia trying to advance to play Canada again. Chance. High slot. Wrister. Wide of Dostal of the left post. Denmark still with it. Fights it off. This goes to the right side. Czechia still to play defense. Bjorkstrand shoots. He misses the net. Down to 20 seconds. It's kept in left side blue line. Bjorkstrand. This hits Dostal up in the grill. It's not out. Down to 10 seconds, but now they got to skate back. Nick Ehlers got to hurry up as it goes down to 8. Long outstretch pass. This one bounced in the corner. Czechia's got it. They survive. They win 3-2 over Denmark. They will play Canada tomorrow in the quarterfinal. It was a hellacious end. Denmark gave a valiant effort, but Czechia survives. That ended up being a good close and not a bad game, Ian, as far as being able to join in. Again, all second period, but all things considered, glad we did this broadcast today. Czechia survives, but again, as we said, from the opening in day 2, they lost 5-0 to Canada. The only way I can see, I'm going to say this openly before I close, Czechia finding a way to beat Canada or at least making it competitive, I think they got to get 2 in that first frame against Canada tomorrow. You have the goaltending between Dostal, Vejmelka, and Vladar, but you got to start on the right foot. You cannot play from behind. I don't even think you can play a 0-0. You got to get the lead up in the first period and play out front if you want any chance tomorrow.
Well, and let's be realistic. With Canada, it's not going to be zero. You're not going to finish the first period at 0-0.
I agree. Right.
You just named Canada's top line.
Yeah. McKinnon, Crosby, McDavid on your top line. I mean, that's not going to happen.
Nope.
Ian, I appreciate you. I don't know, again, tomorrow whether it's going to be 10:40. It depends on what happens after this Sweden-Latvia game is done. Hopefully, I will see you either, if I don't see you tomorrow, Friday or Sunday. Alec and I are going to be tired at 8:10 in the morning for the gold medal game. But we're going to do that one. So I think he's got the go-ahead, and I'm going to make sure I'm here. Okay, so we'll all be tired together, but we should be taking in a treat by the end of the weekend. I appreciate you, man. It's good to talk to you again.
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll see you.
All
right. That is your final. All the goals in the middle frame. Czechia holds on. They're going to have to play Canada yet again. Thank you guys for joining. Again, who wins this one? The 2 votes. Who advances to play Canada? Czechia, Denmark was split 50-50. It ended up being a heck of a game. That first period was pretty sleepy. But again, you get 5 in the second and a valiant effort for Denmark to try to close that one out. I thought they fought off pretty hard. This ended up being a decent game. I hope that I can see you guys tomorrow for another 10:40 start. If it's anything earlier, I could probably do 8:10, but we're not doing anything that's 6:30 in the morning. Let me go ahead and look at the pairings tomorrow. It's 10:40, 12:10, or 3:10. I cannot do 3:10, but if it's 10:40 or 12:10, 12:10 might be tight, but I think we can mix it in. So quarterfinal 2 or 3 between 10:40 a.m. or 12:10 p.m. Eastern, probably doable tomorrow. That depends on where everybody gets seated at the end of it. I'm only going to know after the Sweden-Latvia game is done at 3:10 today. So we'll get these scores typed in and this story squared away, and then we'll figure it out tomorrow. Peace, guys. You take care.